Ozzie Jurock is back with us after a whirlwind tour around the world. So glad to have you, Ozzie. Welcome back.
Nice to be back, Mike. I got to admit I had withdrawal symptoms came Saturdays, and particularly when I was in Panama City or Sydney, I thought it's on a Saturday I could be calling in. But hey, I didn't. I stayed away while I was trembling with lust to get back on the show. But I could listen to your show. No matter where you are in the world, just get on your computer and there's Michael Campbell. Hey, this is still wasn't as good as me being on it myself, but it was the next best thing.
Well, it was a shadow of its former self right away. And by the way, I know you, Ozzie, you're a man of the world, so despite your Irish heritage, or lack of, you'll be celebrating it this weekend. But you know what happened while you were away? I mean, my goodness, the government said, Ozzie Jurock's getting out of town. We're going to start nailing that real estate industry. Of course, while you were gone, the new mortgage stress test rules hit in with the very predictable result that we saw a reduction in activity. We've seen listings down too. If you want to get into BC, boy, the last the budget in February, while you were gone, right away they start nailing us with a couple of new taxes there. I mean, it's incredible to see the efforts of politicians to derail this monster industry.
Yeah, it's crazy. The Urban Development Institute says, why are they targeting the real estate industry? $23 billion in annual GDP, 233,000 well-paying and family-supporting jobs. And I mean, developers construct, real estate is the number one contributor to the BC economy. Why target them? And then with a multitude of taxes, like PTT increases, foreign buyer taxes increases, school property tax, and a yet to really be defined speculation tax that leaves you wonder. But Mike, you and I talked actually about when the original foreign tax came in the fall of 2016. We talked they would expand it to Victoria, Kelowna, Whistler, and
yep.
They have. And now they also have it in Toronto, and look what happened there. The market is in a free fall. We also said the money would go to Seattle, and look at Seattle now is booming, right? So that didn't certainly help us. But the Greens wanted 30% taxes throughout the province, so the NDP gave them 20 in certain major areas. But it's amazing. The impact is quite stunning.
Well, the other thing is that kills me is they always talk about affordability at Seth. None of these taxes make it more affordable. But here's the other thing is that they also attach themselves to development sites, which means, when they go and build something, that's going to be more expensive.
Exactly, Mike, and nobody latched onto that. I don't even see it in the press. I mean, the very development side, for instance, for low-cost housing or rental purpose-built buildings, the development side, every one of the development sites is over $3 million, so the tax goes there. On a $10 million value, which a lot of sites are there, and a lot of them are more, the taxes that are going to be happening in the future will be $34,000 plus $26,000 added on. So who's going to pay all these taxes? The consumer has to pay it, right? But yeah. The other thing is, I really had to laugh when I read it, Mike. I went out, ha-ha, because the NDP says relying on partnerships with the private sector to build a substantial portion of its 114,000 affordable housing communities. If you're in charge of a Canadian pension fund looking to invest, would you invest in a province that zaps you with, taxes you mentioned earlier on the show, and now all of these new slew of taxes, you're going to say, I'm going to wait this out. And one Kelowna company already is waiting it out. The West Corp has just announced last week that they have an approval to build a 33-story hotel and a condo tower in the heart of downtown Kelowna. They will not be marketing the project until they know exactly what's going to happen with the speculation tax.
That's a great example. I mean, what's always so silly, and it's worse than that, I was just trying to quickly in my head come up with a word I could say on the radio because I couldn't say what else was coming to mind, so I'm saying silly. But, capital is mobile, as you just alluded to, and we predicted on this show, and it's not that we needed any, genius to predict this, is when they stuck in the foreign buyers tax, presto, money's going to go elsewhere. It went to Toronto first off, then they join in. Seattle's the big beneficiary, and in this case, as you say, the uncertainty surrounding a new speculation tax, has certainly got some developers standing on the sidelines. And by the way, this impacts people from Calgary and from Edmonton or any parts in Alberta, any parts of the country, because let's say they bought a unit in Kelowna, they bought a unit in Victoria, and we see a lot of that kind of stuff. They're going to be subject to this speculation tax. And I don't see how that was the purpose of this tax, to discourage, Canadians from buying Canadian real estate. I just shake my head at this one. And by the way, I don't know if you caught this because, as I say, you were away. the government, the NDP government in British Columbia, admitted they ran no models to assess the impact. Really? They actually, but they said that, though. We didn't run any models. Yeah. Wow.
Well, and that's the crazy thing. I think you and I discussed in January 2017 when they're always talking, the NDP is planning a speculation tax, but it's only for foreigners. And I said, no, yeah. I read a memo, actually, from the NDP that it's applying to all of us. We're all speculators. But you're right. I'm in Calgarian. I own a property now in Nanaimo. I want to go skiing in Kelowna. It's a big ride. Now, I say to myself, it's funny, when you look at the website of the Vancouver City, when they talk about their empty home tax, they're saying, well, you always have the option to sell your property. So let's say the guy in Edmonton says, okay, I'll sell it, right? He's not coming with his family to ski to Big White. He's not spending any money on hamburgers, ski lifts, and 1,000 other things in local business. The impacts are enormous. We're not talking to some speculators. We're talking about a family having had a good life and having a small property somewhere else. It's crazy. We also don't know what the long-term rental means, so we really need to find out all the differences. And Mike, the really surprising thing to me is that we don't put the two things together. The federal government now plans to increase the number of immigrants. And where do they go? Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver. So we're going to have 36,000 immigrants came last year and for the last 5 years into the Lower Mainland. Let's say we add another 20,000, which means another 10,000 properties that we have to have for rent or to buy. So actually the cost of the real estate is actually going to rise, because if you don't build, because nobody's going to build 114,000 in this kind of environment, and then you increase the number of people wanting it, and you alluded that in your opening remarks. We have 140,000 students and temporary foreign workers. They're going to live somewhere. They want to rent and so on. So what's going to happen? We're actually going to have higher prices, not lower.
My goodness. Glad to have you back, Ozzie. Maybe you could just cheer me up a little bit. One hot property. Or a couple.
Yeah, we got a 70-mile house. We have something different. This is a motel and a restaurant on 1.7 acres. It has 9 rental units, a 2-bedroom caretaker residence, and a restaurant seats 50 people. There's some recent updates. And hey, for the cost of a front door in Vancouver, $399,000, you are in business. And then there's a 12-acre lot with a pond, year-round access in Williams Lake for $89,900. So these should cheer us up.
Time to go back to Jurock.com. Ozzie Jurock is with us. Ozzie, great to have you. Chat with you next week.
I just want to quickly leave you with that something that the CRA is always looking for is a red flag. Now, Jay Leno says a red flag is that if you have some money left in your bank account after you pay taxes, that's a red flag.
That's more true today than it was yesterday, even.